Take a look around you. Right now, in this moment, do you feel truly safe? Like, really safe? Or is there this tiny, nagging voice in the back of your head that's whispering, something's off? Maybe you're brushing it off because, hey, life seems fine. You've got your routine, your goals, your expertise. But deep down, you can't shake the feeling that you're missing something big. And ignoring it, that's just easier than admitting the truth. You might be falling behind. Here's the thing, it doesn't matter how good you are at what you do. Seriously, you could be the absolute best in your field, but sooner or later, someone's going to come along who knows something you don't. Someone who can connect dots you didn't even see. Because here's the reality, the world doesn't belong to the experts anymore. It belongs to the people who can play multiple games at once. The ones who aren't afraid to mix and match ideas from totally different worlds. Think about it. What do people like Leonardo da Vinci, Benjamin Franklin, Marie Curie, or Steve Jobs all have in common? Yeah, they were geniuses, but that's not the whole story. The real secret, they didn't let themselves get stuck in one box. They didn't just stick to one thing. They crossed boundaries, took risks, and didn't care if people didn't get it at first. They were explorers, not just experts. And then there's you. You're probably deep in your own lane thinking, if I just get really, really good at this one thing, I'll stand out. But here's the catch. The deeper you go into that one hole, the less you see of the huge, wide world around you. The real danger? The world doesn't reward specialists anymore. It rewards connectors. While you're spending years perfecting one skill, someone else is out there learning 10 different things and finding the hidden patterns that link them all. And guess what? They're creating things you can't even imagine because they've got something you don't, a bigger picture. Right now, you might be closer to becoming obsolete than you think, not because you're not talented or smart, but because you're still buying into the old idea that being an expert in one thing is enough. But let me ask you this. When was the last time you tried learning something totally new? Something completely outside your comfort zone? Can't remember. That's because you've let the world put invisible walls around you and you haven't even questioned them. And that's the real enemy. Not a lack of skill or intelligence. It's comfort. Comfort is the most dangerous trap because it's one you walk into willingly. It makes you feel like you're moving forward, but really, you've been stuck in the same spot for years. Look at the people you admire most. They didn't get where they are by being experts in just one thing. They got there by connecting worlds that seemed impossible to bring together. So what's it going to be? Are you ready to face this uncomfortable truth, or are you going to keep pretending everything's fine? If you stay where you are, if you refuse to grow beyond your limits, then get ready to fade into the background. But if you decide to take the challenge to be more than just a specialist, then buckle up. It's not an easy road, but it's the only one worth taking. Because real knowledge isn't about hoarding information, it's about making connections. Now let me ask you this, do you want to be just another expert nobody remembers, or do you want to be someone impossible to ignore? Here's something cool to think about. Every time you learn something new, your brain lights up with a tiny spark. You might not notice it at first, but it's there, shining in a corner that was dark before. And when you start adding more sparks, it's not just light, it's an explosion of connections that completely changes how you see the world. Here's the fascinating part. When you step outside your usual zone and explore different fields, you're not just creating sparks, you're building a mental network that keeps growing. Your brain isn't just a storage unit for information. It's a powerhouse for turning that information into something useful, into ideas that can actually change things. Did you know that every time you learn something completely new, your brain literally rewires itself? New connections form, opening up paths to solutions you never even thought of. It's like finding a secret door inside your mind that leads to places full of creativity and innovation. Let me hit you with a hard truth. How many times have you felt stuck in a loop, doing the same things over and over, feeling like your brain's just spinning its wheels? That's not an accident. It's what happens when you stay in your little bubble of knowledge. Most people think the answer is to dig even deeper into what they already know, but that's a mistake. You don't need more depth, you need breadth. You need to shake things up, try something totally different. Imagine your mind is a maze. You've been walking the same hallways forever, looking for something new, but you've already seen every corner. Now imagine stepping into a completely different maze. Suddenly your perspective shifts, your senses wake up. That little spark turns into a flame, burning away all the mental routines that were holding you back. This isn't just some psychological trick, it's biology. Your brain gets stronger, faster, and better at solving problems. And here's the deeper truth. The more you explore, the more you learn about yourself. A lot of people feel lost because they've never left their little maze. They've never questioned what they were told to learn. If you only ever go deeper into the same thing, how will you ever discover who you really are? Real self-knowledge doesn't come from what's easy. It comes from what challenges you, what makes you uncomfortable, what forces you to ask hard questions. Here's the deal. If you want to be truly free, you've got to stop being afraid of being a beginner over and over again. Society has drilled into us that not knowing something is embarrassing, that being vulnerable is weak. But here's the thing, vulnerability is actually your superpower. When you're okay with not having all the answers, you open yourself up to learning everything. Pride and the fear of looking silly, those are the walls keeping you from growing. While everyone else is scared of looking inexperienced, you can flip that fear on its head. How? By letting it push you into new territory, places no one expects you to go. That's where the magic happens. When you're exploring uncharted ground, no one can predict your next move. You become unpredictable, and that's a huge advantage. Here's another way to look at it. When you dive into multiple fields, you're not just collecting facts. You're building something way more valuable. Your judgment. You learn to sift through information, figure out what's useful, and make smart decisions. You become harder to manipulate because you see things from multiple angles. While others are clinging to their little corner of expertise, you're up above, spotting patterns, trends, and opportunities before anyone else. Now ask yourself this: why do so many people feel stuck and unfulfilled, even though we have more information at our fingertips than ever before? It's simple. They don't know how to use it. They're drowning in data, but never learn to interpret it. They collect knowledge like trophies, but never actually do anything with it. Don't be like them. Learn to filter, connect, and use knowledge as a tool to change your reality, not just something to show off. To do that, you'll need mental discipline. This is the most underrated skill out there. You've got to train your attention like a muscle. Resist the urge to skim the surface. Superficiality is a disease, and it's everywhere. Don't let it consume you. So here you are at a crossroads. You've got two choices: stay in your comfort zone, doing the same things you've always done, living in the illusion of safety, or take the leap and become something more than just an expert. You could be a polymath, someone who masters multiple fields, connects ideas, and changes the world. The choice is yours. But remember this: the easy path always leads to regret. No one remembers the people who played it safe. So, what's it going to be? Will you keep ignoring your potential, or are you ready to become someone unforgettable? Now think about this. If you could go back 10 years and talk to your younger self, what would you say? You'd probably tell them to stop wasting time, to explore more, to take bigger risks. But here's the kicker: you're still that person, looking ahead with the same doubts and fears. We're always giving ourselves advice from the future, but ignoring it in the present. It's a paradox that keeps us stuck in the same loop. Why does this happen? Because we think learning is linear, that it happens in a straight line, step by step. But real learning, it's messy. It spirals, branches out, and connects ideas that seem totally unrelated. Think of your knowledge as a giant puzzle. Every new thing you learn is a piece that might not seem to fit at first. Most people give up because they don't have the patience to see where it goes. But polymaths, they know every piece matters. They hold on to every bit of knowledge, knowing that one day it'll click into place and reveal a bigger, clearer picture. Now let's get real about something: the fear of change. You felt it. That resistance to leaving what you know, even if it's not great, just because it's familiar. This fear is the biggest obstacle if you want to master multiple fields. Why? Because to learn something new, you've got to unlearn something old. And most people would rather cling to their old beliefs than admit they might be wrong. But here's the secret: true wisdom isn't about being certain, it's about being curious. Here's something no one tells you about geniuses. What made them great wasn't just their smarts or talent, it was their ability to get bored. Yep, bored. When they felt they'd mastered something, they moved on to the next challenge. That restlessness, that's the essence of a polymath. It's what drives you to break rules, push boundaries, and challenge the status quo. Society tells us that getting bored easily is a bad thing, that it means you're scattered or unfocused. But the truth is, boredom is a sign that your brain is ready to grow. So when you start feeling bored, don't fight it, celebrate it. It means you're ready for something bigger. Now let's talk about time. How many times have you heard someone say, "I wish I had more time to learn something new"? Here's the brutal truth. It's not about time, it's about priorities. Time doesn't just appear, you have to make it. And where are you stealing time from right now? Probably from yourself, from the future you could be building if you invested in learning something new. Most people spend hours scrolling through useless content, but claim they don't have time to learn something that could actually help them grow. That's the contradiction that keeps you stuck, while others move forward. Here's another uncomfortable truth. How much is your ego holding you back? We love feeling like experts because it makes us feel important and secure. But the more you master one thing, the more vulnerable you are when the rules change. And trust me, the rules always change. If you base your identity on being an expert in one field, you'll be fragile when the world evolves. But if you let go of that ego and embrace being a lifelong learner, you become adaptable. You become the change. The biggest benefit of learning multiple discipline, you start seeing connections no one else does. Where others see chaos, you see patterns. You understand that everything is connected and you can anticipate what's coming. Here's the kicker. What do successful companies and leaders really want? They're not just looking for experts. They want people who can connect the dots, who can see solutions where others see problems. They want polymath, people who don't just know a lot but understand a lot. And here's the coolest part. When you start exploring multiple fields, you'll discover things about yourself you never knew. Hidden talents, passions you didn't know you had. True passion doesn't just appear, it shows up when you give yourself permission to try new things until something clicks. But to get there, you've got to let go of the labels you've been carrying around. So, what's it going to be? Will you stay on the safe, predictable path, or will you take the risk and see what else you're capable of? The choice is yours. Just remember this. The deepest regret isn't from trying and failing. It's from never trying at all. And trust me, you'll never forgive yourself for living a life limited by fear. The real tragedy isn't dying without achieving your goals. It's living without ever discovering what you could have been. Comfort isn't fulfillment. It's just the anesthesia fear uses to keep you still. Right now, as you're hearing this, you've got a chance, a big one. It's the chance to decide who you want to be from this moment forward. It doesn't matter what's happened up until now. It doesn't matter what story you've been telling yourself. The real story starts right now. The second you decide to open a new door. I get it. It's easy to look at other people and think they've had more luck, more talent, or better opportunities than you. But here's the truth. The only real difference between those who succeed and those who don't is that some people act while others wait. The world isn't going to stop and wait for you. It's moving, changing, evolving every single day. So, what's it going to be? Are you going to sit back and watch? Or are you going to be the one driving those changes? Here's the hard truth. People forget those who never dared to stand out, but they never forget the ones who left a mark, the ones who connected ideas, knowledge, and actions in ways no one saw coming. Those are the people who move the world. Those are the people who make history. They're the ones who live in a constant state of growth, pushing boundaries and breaking the rules. So, what are you going to do? If you've made it this far, you can't pretend you don't know what you need to do. You've felt the power inside you. You've sensed the possibilities. And now, there's only one option. Take the leap. A bold, decisive, no turning back kind of leap. A leap toward becoming someone who can connect the dots in ways no one else can. Someone who can't be ignored. So go ahead, dare to be more than just an expert in one thing. Dare to be a polymath, a visionary. Let your legacy be your ability to bring different worlds together, to create solutions that change the game, and to be someone who leaves a lasting impact. If you've made it this far, it's because you're ready to become the person you were always meant to be. But here's the thing, this isn't the end, it's the real beginning. Because once you decide to explore and connect multiple disciplines, your life will never be the same. And trust me, you won't want it to be. If this message has hit home for you, if you feel like something inside you has shifted, Then join this growing community. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notification, and be part of this mental revolution that's changing lives. And now, I want to ask you to do something special. Leave a comment below with this phrase to let me know you've decided to start your true journey today. I decide to connect well. Write it down, own it, commit to it, because every time you do, you're reminding yourself that you're not the same person anymore. Remember this, the world belongs to those who are willing to push past their own limits. So don't wait. This is your moment. This is your sign. Take that first step, and I'll see you on the other side.